everybody, and looking at the bans already as we hop into this for game number 1. Normally we see like 3 or 4 jungle bans hit the Rift. This is not the case this time round. We've still got Vi, we've still got Xin Zhao, still got the Trundle, which now does get banned, but in this series it's a complete takeaway, and the Annie B1 pick locked in opens up for a Doinb Victor here. He's still got Ryze open if he wants to go for the Ryze in the mid lane, and then again those premier junglers are still up and available. We've got Xin Zhao Vi most likely to get traded out on both of these sides, and Sion for Solokill has been an instrumental pick for him as well.
Yeah, Sion is also one of those picks that kind of remind you of an Ornn or maybe a Gnar. It's just a very safe pick. You usually can't do a lot wrong with it. You can use your ultimate as a bit of an engage tool, you know, going straight in with the knockups. It's very nice to have. Pairing it up with the Wukong here sounds relatively aggressive already, if you want to see
It's a denial pick. Wukong Annie is a very good duo that you just blow somebody up at level 6, and you have really good team fight set up as well with Malignance churning whilst you've got the Wukong Cyclone going. Denying the Wukong Annie is, you know, a pretty decent idea from NIP, and also sets them up for a very good team fight. It's also a denial pick away from a Sion as well, right? You know that Sion's going to unstoppable onslaught into you. If you put the Wukong clone in front of him, well, then that's a little bit removing that impact, but the fact that they take away the Wukong removes that as an option. Now ThunderTalk, they've got to decide, first of all, who wants to tank the Sion. Like, they need somebody in the front line to be able to do that. Maybe they find an Ornn, maybe they look for an Alistar at the support role, but with Yunara left open and being picked up super early on, TT decide that it's 1xN who wants to get his hands on that this time round.
Very, very interesting. We've mentioned her before a little bit. You've mentioned the pentakill you guys just saw. Overall, still, I think Yunara, when you buy enough space for her and she gets to play front to back and use the ultimate, it's going to be a very nice thing to do. But you can also still be vulnerable, I would say, especially in the mid game. I feel like sometimes she has a little bit of a dip, you know what I mean? I feel like she has a very strong early game, and then she has this weird mid game dip where either you turn it around by great team fighting and actually generating some kills, or you're starting to, you know, fall behind a little bit. So let's see if they can make that one work.
You look at the kit of the Yunara as well, like all of her damage really comes from auto attacks. You have a laser that does something, but you are very heavily reliant on being able to auto attack, and keep uptime with your autos is really, you know, quite difficult sometimes. But you might be able to see 1xN thrive on the Yunara hit. Depends what pairing we end up seeing with Feather down in that bot lane. And I do think that he's going to have a difficult time of things just trying to auto attack versus a Wukong and a Sion as well. If he gets knocked up once, there'll be Doinb there ready with a seismic shove to boop him back into the rest of the team. And now TT, though, with this opportunity with Yunara, they can start to pinch the pool a little bit. They can take away other AD carries that are going to synergize nicely with the NIP composition. I love the Kai'Sa ban. Jhin could come next as somebody who's got quite a strong early laning phase. Maybe a Corki as well gets removed here by TT. But just making sure that they've got that really solid backline access is going to be important.
Yeah, let's see what they end up going for. They seem to be focused on the Rel for now, just, you know, securing that hard engage. Rel is a great tool, still one of the, you know, most played, most comfortable supports you can pick in the current meta with the hard engage tools. But they are actually opting to go towards the Alistar instead. That's interesting. Yeah. I would have preferred the hard engage, to be honest, but maybe that's just me.
Alistar can still act as hard engage, so it's not the worst thing in the world, and I do think that, you know, they've got a really good window to protect against a Rel here. Like, there's not really too many Alistar counters available. Braum did receive a couple of nerfs and could end up, it doesn't really synergize too well with the TT composition, and we'll see. Lulu gets locked in here. I do think that Yunara thrives with these hyper carries and is able to actually buff up you know, or be buffed up really effectively. We talked about it being just auto attacks. Well, Lulu's great with auto attack champions. You think Jinx, you think Aphelios, right? You think Twitch. Lulu pairs really well with them. I don't see why Yunara would be any different. And they've got a front line now in the Ornn as well. So it is a very clear teamfight composition. It is a TT staple here of protect 1xN, let him do DPS, and hope to all heck that he can carry us, because Annie doesn't really solo carry unless SeTab finds a really good angle. Aki on a Vine, not really going to be the super carry that we're looking at. And, you know, Hoya on Ornn, it's staple, it's traditional, but it's not a carry. So it's all eyes, all eggs in the 1xN basket, and we just hope that they can end up coming home to roost.
Well, let's see if that works out. On the other hand side, we see the draft rounded out with the Sivir. We've seen her before. You know, it does bring the tools to the table. Maybe takes a minute or two. But if I look at only, you know, which champion has more power in the early game, I would say it's Yunara. If I look at who can bring a very clean power to the later stages of the game, I would say Sivir is definitely up there as well. So bot lane is going to be very interesting for me. Overall, I think I do like the Ninjas draft a little bit more.
I think that it's going to be much easier to execute, and I do value the DPS of Doinb over on a Lulu. You always have to try and play positioning quite well. In terms of things to pick out the Lulu, you've got, if she gets engaged on and is trying to ward solo, she's going to get knocked up by Wukong, hit by an Alistar combo. Like, there's so many things to quickly pick her off, whereas if an Alistar gets face checked, or if he face checks as Alistar, is normally not too difficult to try and get yourself away, at the very least buy time for your team to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm honestly very excited to see how Yunara Lulu is going to go, because in our region, we usually see it paired with hard engage. You know, we've seen a lot of Yunara Braum. That's kind of what people like to go for, but you mentioned it being nerfed, you know, the Braum. So that's not the greatest option yet. We do see a lot of hard engage paired with it. So this is actually my first time seeing her played with an enchanter in a, you know, professional competitive game. So it's really, really exciting to see how that one's going to play out. As we're, of course, going onto the Rift, into the game. NIP versus TT, the rematch. And we just saw the first round a few days ago. Let's see if they can turn it around this time. Maybe TT can pick up a win here.
Good Gyos in the arena as well. The first series we were a little bit absent on them, but TT and NIP got a little bit of a fandom going on, as SeTab going to get E-level 1 start here to try and trade back with Doinb. And early on, not too bad for the NIP mid laner, as both he, Niket and Naiyou posture around this mid side to try and get some vision early on to protect for those early ganks. Remember that both of these mid laners are immobile, are going to be very heavily susceptible to those level 6 timers coming through from Aki and from Naiyou. So it's all about, if you can steal away a camp here, if you can play for a second Raptor spawn, and actually our mid laners have got a lot of burden, a massive burden on them here, where you're trying to get push, help your jungler out, and then play for those invades.
Our chat seems to feel like TT is going to take this one home. So fingers crossed for all you TT believers. Because NIP are definitely looking to change that outcome a little bit. Leaf already having used the Ghost here relatively early on. So that's one summoner already gone. And I think 1xN will be able to have a decent push here. Because we, of course, have the Alistar level 1 problem again, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the issue really with Yunara's early laning is she requires those 8 auto attacks before you can actually start to do damage or anything along those lines. And I actually think that Yunara into Sivir as well is a really good matchup for the Yunara. What's the Sivir spell shielding? You can spell shield a W, and in the lane, like, that doesn't really do too much. And Aki a little bit caught off guard here with Naiyou as he went from blue into red, into stealing away the Krugs down on bot side, and that's been completely missed by TT as Naiyou able to get himself out. He's going to cross through mid lane. They'll see that he's only level 2.
Oh, but he's still looking for something possibly, but SeTab manages to, you know, just realize that he has to play it a little more carefully in that moment. And he's going towards his own jungle now.
I mean, I'd be interested to see now whether we see Naiyou lose out on some bot side camps as Summoner Heal comes through on both sides in the bot side, as 1xN here trading aggressively. Ghost now popped.
Oh, they're going for it. Aki is in the area. Leaf is extremely low. Has a flash over the wall.
No.
Oh my god, that was so unlucky. They didn't predict the flash over the wall, and therefore Leaf makes it out alive.
I mean, I think if Aki just has, like, if Aki, I can see watching that 1xN is going to win this 1 versus 1. So if Aki just waits, he knows that should know that Leave is going to flash, or like has to flash over that wall to live, and then he just waits and kills him on the repeat. But now Hoya has got flash, but he's so deep.
Well, I don't think that's gonna be enough, as Naiyou is of course in the area, ends up picking up that one. First blood going over to NIP.
Yeah, and again, a little bit awkward. Both junglers looking for those early plays. It's unfortunately only the Wukong who comes out on top and finds first blood. Leave able to barely get out to safety, but it's a good sign for ThunderTalk that their bot lane is winning these 2v2s. It's not a good sign that Aki wasn't able to pick up and punish the bot lane where needed. And you can see Solokill moved down to that bot side to match up against the Ornn once again. I think that Hoya, for the most part, was having a pretty decent time of things in the lane. The Sion not necessarily the most oppressive lane bully, especially up against the base damages of an Ornn early on. But we know that late game, Solokill, gonna be a fiend. It's all on 1xN as well to try and get through this Sion's HP bar, and whether or not he can do it is going to be that big question.
It's going to be really hard, that much is sure. I have a good friend, he uploaded a TikTok the other day of him playing Ashe, trying to do damage to Sion. Safe to say that didn't go too well. So it's every AD carry's worst nightmare. As Leave has to be careful. He definitely needs to leave, because the wave that's coming in is relatively big.
Yeah.
Oh. There's some reassurance here though, in the form of Naiyou and Niket as well. And Feather should go down for this. Yeah. That's the second kill to the Wukong.
And it's just TT getting a little bit too over-aggressive, unfortunately. They didn't see the Alistar or the Wukong on the map, and you know, that play's fine to go for if Wukong isn't top lane. You can probably get away with it if it's just Niket, but Naiyou's just clearing his Krugs. He's able to quickly pick up the Lulu, and it's now 2-0. We saw in the interview that he talked about him being more proactive, about him being in a position in this jungle role to do more things for the squad early on. And even on this Wukong, who pre-level 6 shouldn't really have too much impact, he's already found 2 kills.
Yeah, that's a really good start for him. As we can see, the Tibbers coming through. Doinb has to be a little careful, but underneath the turret should stay safe. The Drake has gone down in the meantime for TT. Good reaction to that topside play, You know that Naiyou's there, so you decide to actually go for the Drake instead.
My wave now.
Yeah, well, yeah. Good job.
And that'll do.
Yeah, that's enough.
Leave with the Cull in the inventory as well as 1xN, so both of these AD carries here just sort of resigning themselves to the fact that we are chilling for the early parts of this game. I will be interested to see which build path it is that 1xN goes for. On release, we saw a lot of Yuntel, a lot of Kraken Slayer, but we've seen a couple of on-hit builds come through. We saw Blade of the Ruin King, I think, yesterday. And we may end up seeing that build come through once again. I think trying to get through the HP bar of a Sion, the Blade of the Ruin King actually going to have a lot of value if you can try to cut through all of that HP.
Yeah, it's definitely what you see mostly when it comes to, trying to do damage to tanks on the champion. Still also a bit of a question mark. I think pro play item builds are always kind of adapting and changing with time. With Yunara not being available for the longest time, I think there's still some new inspiration to come at some point. But for now, we're kind of looking to see what's going to happen around the Void Grubs. We do still have the swapped lanes on the side of TT. And NIP, they have sent Leave back down towards that bot lane. But Niket's still up there trying to, maybe help with the numbers advantage. But everyone's kind of going for the backports, so
about getting those recalls in.
For it.
And I don't think that NIP are about to start this one up on spawn, and the Void Grubs rather do take quite a while. So if they wanted to go for a contest, like if for example NIP went for this on spawn, it would be okay for them to recall there. Probably ends up being that Naiyou ends up taking one with Leave moving into this mid lane. It's putting the level 6 Sivir with the rest of the team. Doinb has got teleport, so if they need the Talia for this fight, he can be a part of it. A couple of honey fruit go to Solokill, so he's got some mana to work with, but you can see it's actually NIP setting up for a Void Grub take in exchange for TT setting up for a dive on Doinb. Does he recognize now that he is the play on the map? We don't see Vi, we don't see anybody really. We don't see the supporting cast, and it unfortunately hasn't occurred to him that he's going to be the play on the map. You can see Niket making his way down to the bot lane, but it's not going to be in time.
It's going to be a little bit too late as they're now moving in, trying to get something done. Doinb is trying to buy some time, but stepping forward with the seasoned assist. The kill's going over to Aki. That stays alive just like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely fine for ThunderTalk. That's exactly what they were after. Nobody died, and they used a couple of ultis. They find the kill underneath this turret, and honestly, the fact that Solokill TP's in, Niket uses his flash as well, and they don't get anything for it. This is a really big win for ThunderTalk in the cross map. Yes, Doinb can TP to the top side, so he doesn't lose out on a lot of gold necessarily as he catches that wave under the tier 1. But this is a really good tempo play for ThunderTalk. They'll get to go back out onto the map, set themselves up for whatever it is they want to do next, and should have first move on any of the next plays that they look at.
1xN now, of course, a little left alone, but we can see Fathom moving back in. And he's trying to deal some damage against Solokill here. Not really too much you're going to do. They get a nice interrupt against Niket here, so that means Alistar will take a little longer. But for the moment, we have no objective on the map. Another minute until the next Drake.
Yeah.
So it really is a little bit of pushing the wave, seeing where you can gain some prio and possibly put yourself in a better position to go for the dragon.
And to talk about who this is favouring, for me personally, I'm always going to be on board with a Sivir-Taliyah duo in how well they can do damage later on, especially when Solokill is going to be as tanky as can be, as a Sion gets. He's not really been interrupted in this early game. He hasn't been slowed down on that scaling, and I think that trying to get through a Sion with just the Yunara is going to be a difficult task for ThunderTalk. So the later this game goes and the more this team of NIP stays at parity or on par with ThunderTalk, the happier I think they're going to be, because in team fights, they probably just win by default. Their ability with Alistar to get in there and to take down the Yunara should be quite good. With Naiyou and Niket, their job is to kill the Yunara, and it's on Feather to try and peel 1xN. I think that looking at the amount of damage and how easy it is to get it done, I do favour NIP's chances.
I completely agree, at least the longer the game goes. So I think NIP really are looking for the scaling angle here. As Aki has started the Drake, but I'm not quite sure you're going to get through with that one, because we can see Naiyou moving in as well, but the TP's coming through here from Hoya. So let's see if they end up actually getting it. SeTab is on the side. They're now looking to go in with the Sion ultimate, but that only hits the backline. That only hits Hoya. Drake not as important right now. Zaki is now in the pits, and they're looking to be split up here. SeTab gets the kill. Leaf has to flash out on the side. Solokill is being zoned, but the damage output for the side of TT is looking just a tiny bit better for the moment. Tipper is now down. Aki ends up actually getting the Drake, so that's the second one going over here for TT. And they keep on stacking their dragons.
It's very, very messy. SeTab
has to be a bit careful. Will go down in the end. So that's the feat of warfare secured for NIP, and the kill in the bags of Leaf. Hoya also going down a little lower.
Niket with a good heads-up play there, yeah, to salvage that a little bit for NIP, as they also get a wave in the mid lane, but overall a very sloppy fight. Very messy, honestly. As you know, Leaf goes a little bit too close and is barely able to get out to safety, and Yunara is able to free fire for the most part, but the dragon getting picked up by TT, they'll be happy with that. I mean, you can see, so the TP comes in here by Hoya. He blocks off Solokill really nicely. Naiyou uses his clone when they know exactly where he is, mistimes how that's going to go down, and unfortunately, you know, pretty much falls instantly. Lee able to flash and run out to safety, and now Doinb joins the fight, and he's already, you know, the fight's already done.
Always a little awkward when they have to fight in positions when the objective's already down. It also leaves a little bit of a question mark, right? Like, why would you even fight to begin with when nothing's on the map?
That's the LPL special. Come on now. SeTab may be in a bit of trouble. Stuns, walks out to safety as Solokill is far too tanky for this Annie. And this is kind of what I wanted to highlight to you, that if you think that the mid laner is going to do damage to the Sion, unfortunately you're very sorely mistaken, as Solokill will not take damage from an Annie for a very, very long time.
Naiyou on the hunt. Will not end up getting the buff. That one's secured by Aki here. So will only get to clear the ward and then move back into his own jungle. Hex gates are so practical. I love hex gates.
Yeah. Quick in and out, little invade. Oh, no, nothing there. Off I go. With Herald spawning in a minute's time, I'm looking at those cool timers for our AD carries. Are they going to get that big spike that they're after? 1xN just finished his on this mid wave, and Leave is going to need 2 more waves to do that, where he's not going to get access to that before the Rift Herald spawns. I don't know that either of these teams will start it up on spawn, as Niket walks in, spots out this control ward. So it might actually be a pretty good window for TT to try and take a fight. 1xN with that cold pop finished, if he can go back to base, spend the gold, and be a part of the next fight, would be a pretty big advantage for ThunderTalk, as again, this is what their composition lives and dies by. It's been the identity of this team for the entire year almost. It's, can 1xN carry ThunderTalk over the line? Can he be that superstar that they've invested in for years now at this point? And for NIP, it's a question of, can they stop that from happening? Can they take down the Yunara and try and make this fight possible?
Well, they're looking to make a dive possible first and foremost against SeTab here. He tries to pull out the timbers, but the damage output is coming relatively fast. Yes, Niket has to tank a lot of turret aggro, but it doesn't really matter as they pick up the kill. Should be able to push out the wave nicely. Question is that enough to actually go for the Herald here? Because Aki is in the area, does get some decent vision. They might look for a catch on mid lane rather. Going with the Season Desist straight onto the enemy AD carry. Beautifully played. Leave is down, Solokill will drop as well. And now Niket finds another headbutt underneath the turret, but 1xN manages to flash away and ghost. And therefore, no more kills in this fight. But with that being done, it's now TT in the prime position for the Herald.
So I can't imagine here TT lose out on this Rift Herald. Really disappointing that Leave dies there. He has Ghost, he has Spell Shield up to start off with. And Aki's able to find access, which should just never happen. That's the power that this Sivir gives you. So Leaf should have never used Spell Shield at this point. And then, how is it? Spell Shield doesn't, no, never. Doesn't Spell Shield anything. I think he Spell Shields in that little sequence there where he probably blocks Yunara W. But the fact that he's getting hit by Cease and Desist is pretty illegal.
Yep. For the first moment there, I was like, ooh, it looks like miscommunication. Why is he hitting another target than the rest of the team? But they were just so sure that the kills are going to happen anyways that it actually turned out to be a good call.
And now they'll reap the rewards of that, right? That taking down Leave is delaying his spikes. He's not going to get to those Flicker Blades nearly as quickly. Feather, though.
Weaver's wall coming through as well. Feather's down.
And that's what we talked
really
about.
A lot he can do.
This Lulu can't go warding on her own. She needs the support of Aki. She needs the support of Hoya, really, to have a front line that can walk into these brushes first. The second she goes even a step too far forward, it's knock up, Weaver's wall and dead. And the Lulu doesn't nearly have as much staying power to be able to sustain that. So, despite the pick in the mid lane, it's NIP who stop the dragon stacking, and there's no consequence for this. They don't lose out on anything across the rest of the map. You can see Solokill is more than happy to handle SeTab, and they might even be looking for Hoya here. They probably just want the turret.
Oh, but that's going very well. Yes, they're looking for the turret. Yes, Niket is tanking a lot of turret aggro, but Hoya ends up going down. Call of the Forge gun used for nothing, and the turret ends up falling anyway. So that's first turret also going over to NIP, who therefore secure the feats of strength for themselves. Now maybe a little bit of a cross-map play coming through with the Herald charging towards this mid lane turret. Ends up going down. So that's a decent answer for TT, I would say, but still, NIP putting themselves in a comfortable position here too.
Ooh, turret does get chunked to half HP, but for NIP, again, it's a winning play, right? Like, yes, it's a 1-for-1 in terms of turrets, but there's the kill that goes to NIP as well. Look at how much MR Hoya has at this stage in the game. He's got very little. The Mercury treads are all he has. So when Doinb steps up to do damage to the Ornn, he gets chunked through very, very quickly, and they actually do have the damage to take down the Ornn under that turret. And I think that, you know, looking forward, it kind of shows you, okay, Doinb can do damage with one type, Leaf can do damage with the other, and that's why I'm a little bit scared for ThunderTalk and their frontlining capabilities. They don't quite have that same level of frontline as a Sion.
You can see Aki trying to get as much out of his own jungle as possible, because with the map opening up a little more for the side of NIP as well. We can see it right here. Naiyou, of course, in a good position to always go back for the invades, try and steal away some camps, you know, taking away tempo from the Vi. Now Aki is hovering around this top side here. There's no one there, and the next wave is going to take a while until it arrives. So
yeah,
you just wait.
A good chunk of time before we end up seeing anything like that actually happening, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not it's ThunderTalk can finish this tier 1 turret. I mean, Annie not necessarily the greatest turret taker in the world, and TP comes on through. That's Solokill making his way up to the top side. But with 30 seconds on the Atacon, spawning in that bot side of the map, teleporting up to that top lane, maybe something that they do need to consider as, okay, Solokill, if we're going to go for this Atacon early on, you just use your teleport, so push that top wave out, move yourself down to mid lane, and maybe we can make a play happen. I think that with
he also still got the ultimate, which gives them a little bit more mobility around the map, I would say.
Yeah.
But you, of course, would prefer to use that a little more proactively than just, hey, I got a speed walk towards bot lane right here.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully he can use that to try and start off a fight. You always typically are trying to do that. And 1xn now, 2 items has been completed. The Blade of the Ruin King, the Runan's Hurricane, so he's going to have good DPS across multiple targets with triple front lines. Runan's always has really good value. Solokill working his way through this turret. You can see SeTab saved his teleport, so lost a good chunk on the HP of the turret, but has teleport to get down here.
Just going for a bit of a proxy farm here. You can of course also see the 3 Void Grubs doing some decent work with him there as well. Leaf now has to be a little bit careful. Aki was on a bit of a chase there.
So a small thing between the interactions of a Vi and a Sivir in particular. You can break the Sivir spell shield with Smite, I believe, which gives access to a Sivir. So even though Leave might feel quite safe, he's going to obviously know that Smite can also break that. So it gives you it gives access to the Sivir when you've got Smite available, which is really important for Vi. But even then, he couldn't chase necessarily that far because Leave was able to buy a lot of space, and then we're looking at the follow-up damage, or how far away 1xn and Feather are, and it was quite far at that point. Now posturing, though, it's around the Atacon.
Doinb is getting engaged here with the Tibbers. Cyclone's trying to buy some space as Aki's going over the wall. Doinb is going to go down here possibly as Aki is looking for the last one. Can he actually get it? Doinb's dancing, and they end up turning it around as Naiyou gets the kill. But on the other side, the fight has taken a turn because Solokill now has to shield Leave at all costs. They end up staying alive. They end up actually getting a kill onto Aki instead. But that was close. Yeah. Way too close.
Yeah, I mean, they're fighting for their lives. Yes, NIP find the kill, but it's ThunderTalk who are able to push the advantage, and they get control over the bot side of this jungle. They're the ones who get to push in the mid wave. A replay of how this breaks down. Doinb shows just for a second there. SeTab knows then that he can fire his skills into the brush, and actually, Niket does a very good job at keeping the Annie away. Aki misses an important Q there, and then his second Q, which should take down Doinb, is blocked by Naiyou. So a very good little tandem duo between the mid-jungle of NIP keep Doinb alive. But now back on live, the Drake's been started. NIP are already chunked from the Hextech Drake going and doing work. And it's 1xn who's got Prio over mid lane, so NIP, they have to resort, they have to turn back. They're probably going to try and lose out on this dragon, try and get some resets in. That'll be TT with just a little bit of posturing who come away with a good win.
Dragon should be taken here by the side of TT, which of course puts them to Soul Point. Comfortable position for them to be in.
Atacon as well. This is bold.
Turning towards the Atacon. It's a very bold call.
Hex gates as well mean that they get out onto the map much faster. TT, though, they're positioning for this. SeTab is cutting off Naiyou.
Naiyou is looking for the Cyclone, but we can see it's actually Niket going in first with the ultimate, and they are now looking to find something as Naiyou is being zoned by the Tibbers, has no chance of coming forward here, as the Call of the Forge God doesn't quite do the job, but it is now top lane versus top lane on the side here. Solokill trying to buy some space for the team as they are now turning their sides back towards the Atacon. It looks good for TT because Naiyou is just nowhere to be found, and now they are looking to pick up the kill against Solokill. And on the side, Naiyou should fall as well. They end up getting another one onto Niket. It's completely split up. And TT are fighting back. They are fighting themselves back into this game. But now the turret breaking some aggro. But Hoya ends up staying alive. And it's Leave left by himself.
Oh, Hoya with a bit of a redemption fight there. And again, ThunderTalk, their identity this entire year has been protect 1xN. Well, guess what? He stays alive in this fight and he's able to pump out the damage. Gets through the Sion, gets through the Alistar, gets through the Wukong, and does just enough. So many times he's able to find these really solid team fights. Double knock up in from Hoya as well, again redeemed after this Call the Forge God. SeTab, great positioning here, takes Naiyou out of this fight completely. Tibbers goes down, takes the Wukong to about 300 HP, so he can never contribute to this fight, and then immediately turns to the rest of the squad. But Hoya, there's no excuse for missing that. You're not CC'd, a little bit unforgivable. Fortunately though, where are the carries of NIP? Doinb and Leave are hitting onto Tibbers, they're hitting onto the Vi, who's absolutely fine, and then by the time they return to their front line, Solokill's already dead, Alistar goes in, he dies as well, and NIP can't really do anything to fight through the front line of the Tibbers, through the front line of the Ornn, and the wall obscuring their access as well.
You can really see, the entire potential of the Yunara unfolding. Also, the first Ornn upgrades coming through. Fair to notice that the Bork is now in a better position.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, NIP, I feel like they are showing exactly what you mentioned when we looked back at the replays. They put themselves in a good position throughout the game, but then there's these crucial fights where they just seem to not get it done in the way they need to actually take over the game, actually put themselves in the lead, because now the gold is even again.
Yeah, and again, with the game being even, right, we look back at how the team fights are looking to break down. How are we expecting this game to go, and to reset those expectations for the people watching, for everybody at home, for the players as well. What are their goals? NIP are looking to play this front to back and be able to sustain through Yunara, where on the flip side, ThunderTalk are just doing whatever they can to keep 1xN safe. Make sure that this Yunara can stay alive, is permanently uptiming with DPS, and I think that with a Hextech Soul potentially on the horizon as well, ThunderTalk are in a really good position to take this first game. It'll come down to one more Dragon, one more fight, obviously, but they're in a good spot to try to take it. Leave is level 15 though. He's been very heavily accelerated and given a lot of the resources of his team, but despite all of that, 1xN has been given more resources, been given more gold, right? Like, this is not just 10 CS per minute, this is, 11, 12 CS per minute for the Yunara, and 1xN needs to pay off with that.
Doinb will be able to pick up the turret here in top lane, second turret for NIP. I think split push might also be another point for them to look at, where they can generate leads, where they can generate some tension on the map, putting themselves in a better position to fight for these objectives. But mid lane tier 1 turret, of course, still standing.
Oh, no spell shield.
Another engage coming through as Niket has to find something here, tries to throw someone back. Solokill dropping extremely low, still has to flash out, but here comes Aki from the side. He's going in with the season assist straight to the backline, straight onto Naiyou, and yet 1xN gets the kill versus the supporter, and Solokill drops dead as well. 1xN 503, it's the double kill for the Yunara.
And I mean, if Leave is just going to walk up and throw his life away like that, then this game, we may as well go to game number 2. TT are going to get the soul here, absolutely no doubt. But NIP, they're looking on this top side. They've still got Sivir, Talia, and Wukong. They have a Baron taking trio. Leave!
Oh, no, they don't have a Sivir. The Sivir is about to, just leave.
Yeah.
Pun intended, but like
they can't flip for the Baron anymore. And honestly, with that big chunk, I wouldn't be surprised if TT looked to take the Baron after the fact as well. So some very careless positioning from Leave in these circumstances. That yes, he can be given all the gold. Feather, no.
Yeah, Feather should go down here. Not much to say about that. I'm sorry, but that's...
Yeah, I mean, that's a massive swing though, because now with no support, 1xN needs to be a lot safer in these fights. Double TP out onto the map, Spellbook triple TP out onto the map as Doinb joins the party as well. TT, they've got to contest and it's 4v5.
You still have some tools, maybe Hoya with the Call of the Forge God coming up in a few seconds. Maybe they can stall some time, but here comes Niket over the wall. Doesn't really do too much. Baron's almost gone. And we're looking at Aki with the plant over the wall. Here comes the call of the Forge God. Come on, do it. Smite it away. Go for the steal as they are doing it. They're dishing out some damage, but it's actually Leaf who picks up the first kill. Baron going over to the red side. NIP can secure it for themselves. But it was a decent try here for the side of NIP. Oh,
a showdown in the Baron pit. As there's a 4v3 happening outside the pit. Naiyou and Aki are just staring at each other with their spells ready, like 1400 HP on the Baron. Who's gonna go? Who's gonna go? And it's Naiyou. Gets his Q cooldown up. 1400 smite between the crushing blow and the summoner smite. Barely able to come away with it. It's a 1 for, or is it a 2 for 0, 2 for 1 in the fight, in fact. And honestly, it's going to be NIP that are going to be very happy with this situation. A good flick onto Hoya means he has to flash out to safety. I really thought Niket would go for a bigger angle here. But honestly, the Alistair in this fight just needs to be a little bit more forward-facing. SeTab flashes over the engage, but only onto Doinb, who takes pretty much no damage, returns instantly and takes the fight. And look in the pit.
Wow.
Aki able to, Q through, but doesn't get the smite. Naiyou able to Q plus smite at 1274. A crazy kind of fight, honestly. And NIP the ones that just barely come out on top.
Honestly, I gotta say, it's crazy to me that we still only have about a 1k gold lead here for one of the two teams. With the soul being on the side of TT, it should feel like more, but it's not really, as 1xN is now going in the 1v1 with Leaf, and he just does it. He just does it. He just has all the damage. He has 4 items. Hoya coming through with the call of the Forge God. That one is going to be denied.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
He's just frontlining. He is just frontlining. He doesn't care anymore. He gets the kill against the Sion. Cease and desist coming through here onto the backline. Tibbers as well. Naiyou has to use the clone in order to make it out alive, as Doinb is also running for the hills. And yeah, he's buying some space.
It might take a while here.
He's on the hunt. 1xN is on the hunt. 1xN is on the hunt. Come on, go, get it. Do it. He's thrown back again. You can see Aki going down finally, as now Doinb is the next target. 1xN with his next kill. And everyone else seems to make it out okay. Well, everyone else being Naiyou and Niket. No one else is left, in fact. But still, wow. Wow.
Yeah, Leave is struggling in this game and has been picked now twice. And even if he doesn't die in the first pick, like, you just can never step up to hit this wave. The Hextech Soul going over to ThunderTalk, and I mean, 1xN can just jump on you. He's got a Lulu in his pocket. Just walk the other way around mid lane, and the fight from here on in, it's completely lost. You have no AD carry. That incredible gold sink that you put onto the Sivir is not a part of this skirmish. And it's just a chase down from here. Naiyou, and in fairness to Naiyou and Niket, they're able to, I think, take down Aki on the side of this fight, but it's of little consequence. They've already lost the soul. They do nothing with the Baron. And Naiyou, I think he's calling for Niket here. Okay, we kind of need to duo this so we can take down the Vi. And fortunately enough, they were barely able to keep Aki from 2v1ing. But now it's back to square one, Miller here, because we are 57,000 to 57,000.
Yeah.
The gold is dead even, and the only thing to separate these two teams is the fact that 1xN is going to be powered up by a Hextech Soul.
Honestly, that to me, that is more than enough. That is more than enough, because my man has 9 kills. He has 9 kills on Yunara. He's absolutely thriving. Hasn't died once. 700 gold shutdown. You know, put the Hextech Soul on that, and I fear I got a FF, you know, because that's roughy to play into that.
Okay, Weaver's Wall coming through. They want this tier 1 turret here.
I mean, it makes sense. It's one of the most important turrets to open up the map again, but they are just not able to get through to it. It's being guarded. It's being guarded. The wave is gone. No chance.
Okay, half HP Hoya, but he can go back to base, probably teleport back in if they really want to take this. And yeah, that's going to be the call here. We are full on A-ramming. Just because side lanes don't matter anymore, it all depends around this Elder Drake spawning in 40 seconds. Who can get control over mid lane? Who can do the extra little bits of damage that are going to decide this fight? Who can find those early chunks? Leaf has so frequently been caught out that he's had to call all 4 of the rest of his team to protect him. And that's a TP,
really
that's
careful.
a recall from Aki, that's a recall now from Feather, and it's NIP who are likely going to get that first access to the river, to the pit.
But it looks as if TT know they cannot really give up this turret. It would be a bit too much as now the Call of the Forge God is coming true. But look at Solokill is already chunked down extremely low as they are now looking to go into the fight. Here they come from the side. The damage output is enormous with 1xN picking up the kills again. And you just cannot fight against this Yunara. He is still full life. He's been untouched. He was able to fire away. And that is Elder on the map. And I don't see a world in which NIP can contest this.
It's not Elder, Miller. I think this is the game. 10-0-5 for 1xN. We may want to see it, but I think we're going to be disappointed with 30 seconds on leave, 30 seconds on solo kill. Maybe they'll go for the inhibitor first. I think Doinb is going to be able to wave clear this and do a lot of delaying if he can try and put some rocks down, but 1xN is just going to jump on him.
1xN is doing that exactly, but that was Aki in the end who ends up picking up the kill. First turret is already down there. They're moving straighter back into the backline. Niket now up as well, but Naiyou extremely low. It's only the Nexus standing, but it's not going to stand for much longer as TT are looking to take their first win in the series of the day. And they're looking to turn it around and make it back towards that middle of the pack here in the group Nirvana.
And Yunara continues to dominate in the LPL. A very solid performance from 1xN, giving him the tools. I questioned it early on, right? Like, you've taken this Yunara on first rotation. Is it going to be able to have the same impact that you're hoping for? And the answer was unequivocally yes. A massive performance from the bot lane of TT. Feather, getting caught out a couple of times and costing them a little bit. But 1xN never doing that, importantly. 1xN constantly in the right position or with his team so that they could bail him out of danger if that was ever necessary. And, on the flip side for NIP, unfortunately, it was the complete opposite. Leave now 2-3 times, getting caught out, picked up, and not giving the same contribution to the team fights as 1xN.
Would you say the game was a little out of character for Ninjas, or is it still what you would have expected from the messiness that they have still had in their past few games as well?
I mean, I think that for Leave, this is unfortunately becoming a little bit too on brand, where you're in a really good position, you've got a lot of gold, you've got a lot of resources, but you just die mid lane and in a position that you probably shouldn't have done. Even in that final team fight, I think using your spell shield on the first half of Call the Forge God is a real waste, because they can still aim the second one at you, and you'd have to flash it. You're then now open to Vialty, to everything else. And you're not in a position to auto-attack, to use the Flicker Blades to get through the rest of to get a reset on that E cooldown. But for the rest of NIP, I think they were kind of hamstrung by the fact that they were never fighting with an AD carry, that half the fight, you can argue, is this Leave's fault for being picked up, or is this NIP's fault for not protecting the Sivir? And I think that there are a couple of instances in mid lane, we have to rag on Leave a little bit, say this is your problem here. And then that final team fight, you can maybe argue a little bit of both, but definitely instances where NIP really struggled.
100%, and I think what ThunderTalk did very well is the protect the president type comp, right? For the longest time, they were all protecting 1xN until we saw it in the later team fights. He didn't need any more protection. He was just able to play it front, he was frontlining. He was just running straight onto solo kill, getting the kill, refuses to evaluate. It worked very, very well for them.
He's got Lulu shields, he's getting wild growth every single team fight. Had a shield bow in that final fight as well, so was sat with, effectively 4,000-5,000 HP plus the lifesteal that you're getting from a blade and everything else. There was far too much in the back pocket for the Yunara, so it was pretty darn straightforward. And I'm looking forward to seeing the damage percentage here, because I'm doing some quick maths. I'm looking at 48-49% of his team's damage done in this fight. So 1xN was the carry for TT. He has been the carry for the entire duration of this year. And if they can continue to put those resources into him, this is what you get.
100%. But we gotta say, if we looked at the gold graph there were points in which NIP, they were there. They were present. They had moments where they were able to carry it. But in the end, it just wasn't quite enough. I think this was one of the parts where it just got so messy. This Atakan fight, I still try to understand what happened there.
This is where it started to turn, unfortunately. This is where Naiyou's already out of this fight because of a SeTab marking, and then we see like Leave and Doinb are on this top side where their front line's already dying, so it's just not quite the same page for NIP. And then Niket goes in, who, you know, he's not tanky enough, nearly tanky enough to sustain in that. And it's a good flick by Doinb. It means that Feather does end up falling, but not being able to take down SeTab, not being able to push any further with that, and getting double knocked up by Hoya as well. You know, it just kind of speaks to how close and how this game was very, very close until such a point that it just really wasn't.
NIP Gaming in the chat as well. Sorry, you have to look at this again. I bet it's not the most beautiful time to, you know, look at the replays of what we just saw, but I'm sure there's a big comeback angle here because, again, the potential was there from Ninjas. The potential was there in so many scenarios, but this was just when it was already too late. You can see 1xN just running straight forward and picking up all these kills.
Yeah, I mean, even this like chaos that happens in the pit as well, it's just barely favorable for NIP. But you're really splitting hairs as to where the differences between these two teams actually lies in how they played out the rest of this game. And the difference ends up coming down to one AD carry being able to be protected and the other one, unfortunately, not quite having that same impact.
I gotta say, Colossus has a point. You know, the game actually doesn't count because you did not get to pick the new champion, which is, of course, always omega broken. So let's just scrap that and we go to game 2 and then, you know, we can turn it around or see if ThunderTalk can make it a 2-0. I mean, look, they would need the points. They would definitely need the points in the group, but, well, they gotta make it stick first. If we're looking towards player of the game, is it 1xN for you?
So it's like it's never been anybody but 1xN for ThunderTalk. It feels like there's so frequently times where you look at a game and you go, oh look, their AD carry did it. Yep, no surprises. And then you look across the rest of the map and go, well done guys for not losing the game for 1xN. And this game in particular was a very real showing of just what the power of 1xN actually is. You know, he's diving the fountain in Sion Q to take down a Vi or a Wukong underneath the fountain. Like it's been 1xN since game number 1, and you know, if TT end up winning more games, odds are we'll be looking at him to do it again. Well,
let's see if they can do it again, but first of all, let's see if we're right with our prediction. Is it going to be 1xN? I gotta expect it, even though he did profit from, you know, the tools that the team gave him in order to be able to play the Yunara to that extent. But
I think
knowing
this is a really good example of seeing that you can be given a lot of resources and still not do a lot with Leave, because he got a lot of gold. He was funneled a lot of the money and unfortunately didn't have nearly the same impact.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. We can see the player of the game graphic right there, 12 kills. That is definitely a big number, a really big number. Let's see if they can come back with the same extent of gameplay for game number 2. Before that, everyone needs a little bit of a breather. I'm sure NIP Gaming need to take a little breath, you know, settle down. Content game is out of the way. We're now going back to the good gameplay. Let's see if they can make it happen. Let's see if they can come back. We are throwing it to a short break and then we'll be right back afterwards with game number 2 of the second series of the day.